that is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 32 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to discuss the wonder of professional wrestling. Today though, it's just me, Adam, here to introduce you to it's kind of a bonus episode really, a brand new interview with Josh from Riptide Wrestling. Now, regular listeners to the podcast will know that we've got a good relationship with Riptide. They are our local promotion, so we go to every show. We've also had a few different guests that relate to Riptide on the podcast over the last year or so. So back in November, episode number 9, we had Josh on for the first time. And for those that don't know, Josh is the promoter, producer, boss man, along with his buddy Tom. And on episode 9, we talked about how he got into wrestling, how Riptide came about, and all the challenges that relate to running an indie promotion at the moment. As well as Josh, we have had Spike Gervais, obviously one of the biggest heels at Riptide and on the indie scene at the moment. That is definitely well worth having a listen, if only so you can experience the struggle that is listening to somebody that you want to hate but actually turns out to be a very nice guy, which was slightly annoying. We've also had the Mullet Man, Jason Santiago. He was the ring announcer and MC for Riptide in the early days, the first few shows, and we had a good chat with him as well. So feel free to go back and check those out. I would suggest if you haven't heard the interview with Josh, episode number 9, it's definitely well worth pausing this, downloading that, giving that a listen, and then coming back to this. Now, Josh actually got in touch with us. He slid into our DMs, as Jim Smallman would say, and suggested that we got together to have a chat. I think he felt that since November, so much has happened at Riptide, and they've had a number of shows and loads of different developments, and they've really gone from strength to strength. So I think he was keen to sort of freshen things up with us and to give our listeners a chance to hear about what's been going on and what's going to be happening in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be back at the end to give more information on a little giveaway that we're going to do that we'll talk about during this interview. But until then, we hope you enjoy our chat with Josh from Riptide Wrestling.
Oh, face first into the apron of the ring. There's very little padding there. A dangerous area. It's not wrestler friendly, I can tell you.
Right, hello. We are here with Josh Bevan again from Riptide Wrestling. Hello, Josh.
Me again. Hello.
Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Brett's here as well.
Hello.
Hopefully most of our listeners, if not all of them, will have heard the first interview that we had with you back in November last year. Mm-hmm. That was shortly after Point Break and just before Blackwater.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, so just to sort of have a little recap. Since then, we have had Deep Six. We've had 2 nights of Brighton Spirit, Spring Break, and obviously most recently the Riptide Rumble. So my first question to you, Josh, is how are you finding being the promoter of such a thriving UK wrestling promotion?
Wow, what a lovely way to reference this.
Ease you in.
Tired. I'm tired. I'm tired as piss. No, it's great. It's great. It's a lot of work. And
rewarding, though, right?
It is rewarding. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff, there's a lot of delayed gratification with it, because actually the things that I'm working towards, they crystallise very slowly. Like the objectives, like where I get my pats on the back, it all crystallises very, very slowly. So it you can go quite a long time without hitting some of your goals. Like for example, like there's a list of, let's say there's kind of a list of like 10 things that I've wanted to change and improve upon since the last show, since the first show. I've probably managed to get round to 2 of those.
Really?
Just because we're at such full stretch, like just delivering what it is that we're meant to be delivering.
Yeah, so much to do.
Constantly. And the teams are only together at such a short period of time, and you don't have, when the shows happen, there's a certain amount of time that's just spent like everyone just like getting to the level they were at last time. So progress can be slow. It's why for me the Rumble was just like such a gratifying experience, because that was a show whereby I think a lot of progress was consolidated into like a tangible level up, whereas for a long time before then, whilst we've been like developing on the journey and making improvements, they weren't reflected necessarily above the waterline, and that's just what it is. But when it goes a little while without something like that, it does start to the whole endeavour starts to take on a different weight. So that's been incredibly energising and gratifying.
I bet.
And just from the production team to the roster, like to the audience, like that was a real bonding experience, that show. I felt
it was like a coming of age show. It sort of felt for us, didn't it? We were
the audience were like so loud as well throughout that show.
Yeah,
there
was the loudest
moments it was just like, oh my life, this is. Yeah, I think everyone felt that it was a step up as well. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I thought
everyone was so into it.
I mean, just from in the first match, I thought, well, this is good. This is going to be good. And then each match, like, wow, this is great. And then the atmosphere. The atmosphere has been good at previous shows, but this really was next level. Just the volume, the chants, the quality of the chants. Just everybody felt together. Everybody just sort of glancing at each other, going, "God, this is amazing."
Yeah.
And then I definitely felt that when I left. It's like, wow, I can't wait for international waters. And
I'm a bit worried now, actually. Though. Do you know what I mean? Because
you can't stick another Rumble match in there, can you?
The Rumble's always like, we talk about it when we talk about WWE and stuff. It's just that one that everyone
loves.
Everyone loves. No matter what, there's just, I think it's all the unexpected elements that come along with it. Like, most shows you have matches that are set up. With a Rumble, there's so much that you don't know what's
so much unknown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is the excitement.
Yeah,
factor.
And it was and we didn't take doing it lightly either, because indie Rumbles are famed for being shit.
Shambles. Yeah.
I've seen one, a much smaller scale one.
Yeah.
Certainly not 30 people, and it was just a bit of a lump of people. You can't see anything that's going on. There's no story. Like, you had so many different elements where you've got certain sequences of people and not just lots in the ring at once, which was so good because it allows you to watch it. Because if you're not watching it on screen and you're watching it live, you're missing everything if it's all going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was essentially the main success of the Rumble for me is that there wasn't any injuries, because that's something like I'd always said, that we weren't going to do one without good reason, because I wasn't planning on having a get out of jail free card with an overbooked show like people often use Rumbles for. And like just generally like listening to workers talk on podcasts, basically it always seems to come up that people get injured in Rumbles, and you can see why, because if they're not booked like thoroughly and there's uncertainty, like anything, like uncertainty in one area is going to cause a draw of focus, so people aren't going to be working safe because you're not letting them work safe, because you're making them think about other things. And Tom takes a huge amount of credit for the document that he put together that was kind of detailed the booking and where.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, how much in especially something like a Rumble do you leave to the workers and do you take on yourself? Because especially when we've been talking about things in our recent shows, there's been quite a thing about, you can see sometimes when workers are getting more say or when they're getting like no say, and it's quite interesting to know, especially in a Rumble, where that balance is, because there's so much that you want to
that was the most say we've ever had that's the most hands-on we've been, because so much of like the way that we try and do things is for it to be performer focused, and for performers to find their own meaning and put their own meaning and their own value into the shows, and just as we've been like getting experienced and new to the fucking business, like we weren't about to start asking people for stuff when we didn't know what we wanted, and once we'd managed to steer clear of over briefing and micromanaging people when we didn't have the expertise. The next thing that's a pain in the arse for creative is being underbriefed, right?
Yeah.
So now we're kind of, that's our next frontier, basically, of making sure that we're not underbriefing people, while still remembering the roots of letting the people whose job it is to do their job. It's
boundaries that give you more ideas, isn't it? When you're doing stuff, it's like if it's open, then you don't know where to start. As soon as you've got boundaries, you've got something that you can bounce off. And
absolutely, and that's it. People need that from us. People need to know what we want from the match. To do their job properly, and then there's other stuff where now you do need to not micromanage, but you do need to go into a certain point because you've got the context of the whole show, right? If you just let everyone get on with it, then there's going to be repeats and there's going to be blah, blah, blah. And you can't avoid that like fully. It's just we're just finding our balance with the flower bed. Do you know what I mean? How much weed killer do we use? How much? You know, we don't want weeds, but we do want flowers. You know, so that's dynamic. But in terms of the Rumble, I mean, I would say it's probably about 50-50 in terms of spots that we asked for and spots that the talent came up with in the Rumble, basically.
Well, it seemed to work.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it all flowed.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, from my perspective, I didn't really see any botches or anything go wrong. And with 30 men in a ring for that amount of time, and women, I mean, you may have spotted some things that didn't go to plan, but
I mean, I think the worst botch that happened was me. I think I snipped. I started a count a bit early. Sorry, Fraser Thomas. I think there was a movie I'd planned that I slipped off.
Oh, right, okay.
But hey, I didn't know, mate. Sorry. Sozo.
Nothing big that we would necessarily spot.
Nothing big. It's only fucking Fraser Thomas.
And so the Rumble,
love you, Fraser.
The whole Rumble event is being edited literally as we speak, isn't it?
As we speak, you can hear the clicking and slurping of coffee from our fantastic video editor, Elge.
Yo.
Yeah,
he's there working away. So that's going to be out. For a lot of listeners, I imagine that'll be out when they listen to it or whatever. So we won't bother saying when that'll be out, but. That's available on riptidewrestling.pivotshare.com. Is that right? Or did I mess that up?
You can just go riptidewrestling.com and it will take you to the Pivot Share.
That will be there. Yes, excellent. I wanted to go backwards a little bit, just to sort of ramp up enthusiasm for any listeners who haven't watched Riptide. But in terms of some of the old shows and sort of maybe hear about some of your standout moments, favourite moments.
Oh, sure.
If you remember it all, or any particular highlights or matches? I mean, I've got a list of some of my standout matches.
I mean, I think especially topical. Mr. Keith Lee is he's where he deserves to be at this point. In the big company, and I'm very, very thankful for the booking that we were able to have with him. It wasn't, the thing I love about that match actually is it is a fantastic showcase for Keith Lee. But not in the areas that are very, very well established. You can watch him doing the real shit. The stuff that is the core of his act. The stuff that is the core of who he is. The incredible wrestling, the incredible power. There is some of that in that match, but actually taking more of a centre stage in that match is his charisma and his wit. Both physical and verbal, an incredible showcase for that. And I don't know how much of that he's going to be able to display. Certainly at first, I hope he's not going to be able to display any of it for a long time because I'd love to think that they'll use him in a way that kind of befits his main strengths. But it's a wonderful example of what a rounded performer he is, to put that spotlight on those other stuff in the match.
A good sign is that he is called Keith Lee in NXT. That's always good.
That's always a good sign. That's always a good
giving
sign.
him a new name, packaging him up as something else. And I think he was mouthing at Takeover. I think he was mouthing "Bask in My Glory" or something along those lines. So
they have to get that chant going.
They have to stick with it, don't they?
They have to. They don't have to. They
didn't
do
seem
whatever the fuck they want.
That's true.
They didn't seem really like. I don't know. I always get a bit confused on how much WWE fans, even NXT ones, know about what's going on in the indie scene, or not. Because I guess to us it feels like second nature that we know. Try and find a bit of everything, but like he's there, and I was you're sort of expecting like this huge raw, like
it wasn't a huge response, but you don't know what they're seeing. You might not have even been up on the screen, but
Well, when AJ Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble, was it 3 years ago now? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Probably 3 now.
I don't fucking know who he was.
No, I didn't. Brett did.
I'm the one person that was watching TNA in its I'll say in its heyday in air quotes, but I loved AJ Styles from back then, because there was this period of time in TNA, because I'd switched off with WWE and I'd left watching wrestling, then I started watching TNA, and they had AJ Styles, Amazing Red, Samoa Joe, Eric Young, and I was like, it was just so good, because they were like pushing these cruiserweight style people, and it was great. So I was over the moon when AJ Styles went to the big show.
Fucking hell, he smashed it, hasn't he?
He's doing all right.
And you think that there's a trickle? You think that there might be some sort of trickle down with how well he's done in terms of their attitude to where the ceiling for these indie guys are, because I think. Yeah, you're just seeing more and more guys keep their names, right? You're seeing all sorts, and I think that's just because the value that the inherent value there is being recognised and acknowledged.
Totally, I think they are cashing in on the success of the indie scene, because, like, in some people they're repackaging, but like other people there's no point repackaging them, because what they have is so good and their fans love it. If you were to change that, then it's pointless signing that person in the first place, because I know WWE do this whole thing of like they like their own guys coming through, but not many of them are like good, like Velveteen Dream or something. They don't have many of them.
No.
Before we go, actually, speaking of WWE name changes, Wild Boar got the best one ever, right? Which is so he got to come out when he debuted at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
As Wild Boar Mike Hitchman, right? So he keeps his indie name, and he gets to come out to his own. Look, we're going to change your name. It's your own name. Fucking decent. Do you know what I mean? Like, sick. Wait, so I get my gimmick name that I've been using, and it says actually my name on that screen.
Oh, cool.
Let's go. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he hates it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I fucking popped for it. I was like, come on, Mike. Come on, mate.
Yeah, so Keith Lee was obviously on the Point Break, wasn't he? Headline Point Break with Matt Riddle and Jimmy Havoc.
Yep, in a 2 out of 3 falls tables match.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Really good. Moving on from that, what else have we had? Highlights. I mean, a lot of people talk about Travis Banks Mike Bailey match, obviously at Deep 6.
Yeah.
That's one that you guys made available on YouTube.
Yep, still up, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. That was phenomenal live, wasn't it?
That was my turning point on Travis Banks.
Right, okay.
Because I'd seen him in Progress, I saw Super Strong Style, and like everyone was going nuts for him, and I was like, I'm not sold. Like, I see you're good, but I'm not sold on what you.
Something needs to click.
What's elevated you to this? And then seeing him live and seeing those kicks and the pace he goes, and I was like, I get it now.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Like that speed that he does everything.
The intensity
is just next level.
Yeah, agreed. Walter versus Wild Boar, obviously. Sorry, Wild Boar, Mike Hitchman. Great. That was pretty special as well.
Yeah, man. Smashed that. Boar smashed that.
Yeah, he did.
I think it's a real testament to him as well that when we announced that, it wasn't being perceived as a big man, little man match. People were like, "Oh, big lads wrestling."
Yeah.
And it's like, and obviously, like Wild Boar is like a fucking absolute block, but he's about 4 foot shorter than Walter. and it's such a testament to how hard, to his frame and actually how big he is, despite the fact that he's not that tall. But the way that his style of wrestling and how convincing he is, and how he wrestles that big man style, and he has has the power, if not the stature, to wrestle that style. It's so convincing that people are just like, great, big lads wrestling. It's like, wow, that's not what this match is at all, but it's fucking amazing. And it's interesting. Boar has a effect on casuals. He has a body shape effect, like a super heavyweight does. There's something about his body type and his look that absolutely captivates and fascinates casuals. In the small sample group that I've experienced, just when I've had like friends or stuff come to the shows and Boar's been wrestling and they've just been like obsessed by Boar. They're just like, I love Boar.
His finisher helps, of course. Again, for a casual, they must be like, my God, that guy must be dead.
Oh, I love that fucking finish, mate. But that's favourite matches for. I think when we're talking about like matches of the promotion, you're looking at the Bailey match, you're looking at the debut main event between Ospreay and Strickland. You're looking at Sexsmith Star. I mean,
that's what I was going to mention next.
Bloody
that might be my favourite.
Yeah, the storytelling with everything else in that one was, I think, what elevates that match as well. Yeah, that was sort of the most excited I've been at the Brighton.
I think my favourites that I need to drop in are the second Spike versus Jack match. So that was at Returns. That was the opening match at Returns, and that's my favourite match on that show. And this is a show that had Havoc versus Scales, and this is a show that had British Strong Style versus Candice LeRae, Joey Ryan, and Colt Cabana.
It was so much fun. That was so much fun.
But I remember when we were sat editing that, I was just watching it. I was watching the quality of the work that was happening, and I was just laughing the whole time. Like this chemistry between these two guys.
Yeah.
And what was going on, I was just laughing. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how good I thought this was. And hey, listen, I'm first to say, like, it's a bit ridiculous for me to be talking about the quality of the work. It's just like, fuck off. You don't know shit. I don't know shit, dear listener. But I couldn't believe how entertained I was by it. Yeah. I could not believe how thrilled and entertained I was by it just seemed to be just oozing quality, that match. So there's that. There is the scramble at the start of the Storm that was between Cara Noir, James Castle, Session Moth Martina, Lion Kid, and Candy Floss.
Yeah, that was great. I love those matches when you put those ones on. There's so much happening. They're so much fun.
I just thought that for me that was just like it was 2017. It was just like 2017 wrestling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Just like in there, and fuck me, did they like? I think we've done scrambles that I think have subsequently not been as good as that. That one, I just thought, you had 5 really strong characters who were all really good wrestlers, and I just thought it was really well put together. The match. There was only a few things that we spoke about. And everything else, they put it together, and I just thought it was fucking loved that. Brooks versus Mambo and Brooks versus Jonah Rock, big favourites of mine.
Yeah, Brooks Mambo was a really good match. The Rock one as well, but I do remember the Brooks Mambo one well. How much of it can you enjoy in the moment, or are you too busy thinking about the next thing, or do you mostly end up appreciating them when you're editing? Yeah,
mostly end up appreciating them when I'm editing. Yeah. Because I just don't get to fucking see it. I'm just, mate, oh my God. Yeah. I'm a fucking gas on those days.
We see you running around with your walkie-talkie. And
Jesus, H. Samuels.
Quick glimpses of Josh, and then he's gone.
Yeah, on to the next thing. Darting all over the place.
Fucking disgrace. I'm looking forward to being able to chill out a bit. I went up to Fight Club to see the Dream Tag Team Invitational, and just seeing Martin Zaki just like at the bar with a fucking pint just watching the show. I was like, you
That's the way you want it to be.
But
isn't
you
it?
know,
In
yeah,
the long
it's,
run,
you
in the long
know,
run.
yeah, and it's one of those things that is how I want it to be. And you know, people say like, oh, you should delegate more, like blah blah blah. You know, you shouldn't be running around. And it's like, you're right, you're absolutely right. But I'm still learning what it is that needs to be delegated.
Yeah.
You know, I need perspective on the roles and perspective on the potential problems. And you know, people ask me like how preparation for a show was going. This last one, right? And they go, well, we're better prepared than we ever have been for whatever the unforeseen issue du jour is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're still like, my God, like needs I need a lot more experience, like 10 years more experience before I can comfortably not have unexpected things happen. Do you know what I mean? Because again, it's like we've been at this a year, but it's only been 10 shows. It's only 10 times.
Nothing really.
It's 10 days that I've been able to get show day experience, and the team's been able to get show day experience. Like you say, that is nothing.
No.
Like that's how good you get at surfing if you go on holiday surfing once a week. Sorry, once for 1 week a year. Not very fucking good.
Exactly,
Do you know what I mean? And you get your days together there. We don't get our days together. So, but there is a qualitative thing that will be improved if I'm more available to talk to the talent. It will be, the audience and the talent will be more at ease if when they see me, I'm not fucking drenched in sweat, like fucking sprinting through a crowd.
Yeah.
Like if I've got a smile on my face and I'm walking slowly and deliberately somewhere, that just is going to improve
Maybe
the
you just need to
experience
do
for
that.
everyone.
When you're out on the floor, you're just sort of chilling, cruising, smile on your face, and then as soon as you get backstage, go frantic again.
Oh my god!
But then you'll get people approaching you, you know.
Yeah.
trying to talk to
Exactly. Oh mate.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it, dear listener.
Good stuff. So one of the big things that we often talk about sort of after shows when we're leaving is what a great roster you're putting together. And sort of the diversity you've got, obviously a lot of big indie favourites that we all know from a lot of the other promotions, but also a lot of smaller names, a lot of people I'd never heard of before but have since gone on to become favourites.
Yeah, there's definitely some, I guess, in the wrestling world, not big names, but for us, you know, they're getting there, but like Spike Trivet or Cara Noir.
Cara Noir is obviously a massive one for a lot of people.
Shakara as well. Like, there's just
Shakara.
so many, not just great wrestlers, but like the character and thing they're selling as well is like better products than you see anywhere. You know, like some of those guys, it is
High praise, Brett. High praise.
High praise. It might be.
It's not what you were saying outside.
but like, you know, when we're watching the main stuff we're watching and everything, like seeing characters as rounded and as good at what they're doing as Spike or Shakara, even like her interaction with the crowd is so good.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you brought her up, because I think really special credit goes to her, because she feels like she's part of the like super core of people that have been around from day one, and she's not. You know, but she feels like she has. She's made herself a part of the family in that way. So you know, if the people that have always been on the shows really is, you know, Jack, Spike, Mambo, Candy Floss. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there are other people that have always been on the shows, like, you know, like CCK and these kinds of guys, but they're sort of a little bit more everywhere else. So you're not going to feel quite the same attachment to them, because Riptide's not as like not as salient in their career. Do you know what I mean? As these other people are. So there's that. But Chikara, wow, she just feels like she's one of those people. But no, she worked her first Riptide show in February. She didn't even a pre-show. A pre-show match against Livy Grace.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
And then it's like she's retconned us all. Like how it feels like it's like a Doctor Who episode. Like she's always. But Chikara's always been here. No, she hasn't.
That's
She's
a good
just
talent to have.
She
isn't
just
it?
fucking nailed it, like, and like you say, like her connection with the audience is fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. It's so entertaining. Like, even just like the facial expressions, let alone, when she's telling us to fuck off or whatever.
You had a cap on, didn't you, for the Rumble show?
Yeah,
like, shit, I better take this off.
Yeah, exactly.
Take this off, otherwise it's getting flipped.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter did say something hilarious, actually. There was and again, I just sort of thought it was like someone like, I thought they were like just sort of like being like criticising or whatever. They're just like, oh, so when Sami Zayn got injured and we announced Chikara was going to wrestle Candy Floss for that match, and someone was like, so is she going to be doing the Rumble, still doing the Rumble as well? And I thought they were being funny about it. So I was like, yeah, I was like, and they were like, oh, cool, I have to wear two hats then.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's hilarious banter.
It's a joke.
Yes.
Okay. Just regarding the roster, we had a question from MJ from You Total Cult podcast.
What a cult.
What an absolute cult. He said, what is the balance on booking big import names as opposed to several mid-level talents who may not draw as well initially, but can be available long-term to grow with the brand and draw over time? Now, I think we talked about this a little bit in the first interview, asking about imports, and you said a lot of that it can be sort of last minute availability. You just hear that there's big names available, and then you might try and add them. And
what's the balance? I mean, he's outlined it very well, there, which is that there is always a balance between what it is that you can do with people. I mean, I think something that you'll see, you will see less of those like big names in Riptide, I would say, because actually there's something for them to fuck up now at this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's like it's a constant balance of like what you can ask someone to do, and if you haven't got lots of if you haven't got angles to service and you haven't got blah 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 blah, then it doesn't matter. People can come and do whatever the fuck they want because that's what you've got that's going on the show. You've got a big name and blah 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 blah, and that's what they're coming to see, is that person do their thing. But it's but when actually mate, so gratifying to see people referring to the Rumble before it happened. It was like looking like our best card, because that did not have the amount of star power on it as previous shows, as most previous shows. But the audience is looking at that and going, I want to see that match. I want to see that. I want to see how Spike Trivet wangles his way past Mike Bird. Do you know what I mean? I want to see where the fuck this Jack Sexsmith thing's going. Yeah. And because those wrestlers are good enough. Yeah. As wrestlers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like we're not talking about trainees. We're not talking about cheap options. We're talking about fucking sick wrestlers that just maybe don't have like the profile of a super hot draw, but the relevance is there. Like they do have they have a localized profile to Riptide. Whereas, you know what I mean, someone is just as happy to see Volta versus Boar as they are My Bird versus Spike Trivet. Those are similar levels of excitement, and that is tremendously exciting. And that's where we want to be, because those are the people we can tell stories with, and we want to be telling stories, and I think people want to have stories told to them. And that's what the response to the Rumble has kind of confirmed to us, is that people, if it means, star with no angle versus mid-level worker with a high angle, they want the high angle. And for me, that's the right way around. Right?
Yeah, totally. Do you find, like, have you experienced that with having some of those bigger names, like when you had, say, Trent and Tyler, when you've got them on the thing trying to advertise the tickets, do you find that tickets go quicker or if they go the same pace? Like, I'm just like, I wonder whether the audience is that in tune with those big draws. Because, for example, some of the big draws we've mentioned, like, I watch quite a lot of wrestling, but some of them, they were new to me, and I was looking them up when they were on the card. And then I was, super excited about seeing them after I'd looked them up. But
even Jonah Rock, I was
like, wow,
this is like a big deal.
For me, Keith Lee, I was like looking up Keith Lee when he was, because personally, I
PWG,
didn't. So I was like, while it is great to see them, does it really affect sales?
It's hard for me to say because my data is all fucked up because I've tickets I put tickets on sale at different times.
You
in
do.
the month. So I don't have hard fast data on that. I don't have hard fast data on the ticket prices have changed a lot.
Yeah.
So
there's other factors in there.
There's so many factors because it's like, so Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and Jimmy Havoc, right? That match sold 200 tickets on the night that it went on sale. Which is 2/3 of our thing. That's loads, but that was still at a time when I think the tickets for that show were $17.50. So that's still very much at a time where those tickets were subsidised by the organisation, and I'm sorry, like I appreciate, that the last ticket price in 2017 was £20, and then the ticket prices moving forward for that have been £25, and that is a 25% increase in price. And that is not the easiest thing to swallow as a consumer.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, anything under that, and I'm putting a £5 in your pocket every time you come. It's just, it's as simple as that. The price that it's taken us a lot of hard work to get back to selling out the venue with that. There isn't really a markup on that ticket. Still,
I can believe it.
And if you're looking at the markup on like a concert ticket or any other form of entertainment, it would cost £50 to come to Riptide. If this was any other industry, it would cost £50. Now, just because something is in inverted commas good value, just because the cost of what it costs me to make a wrestling ticket, right, is debatably actually still less than what I fucking charge. Just because that is the case, that does not mean it's affordable. Just because something is good value doesn't mean it's affordable. It doesn't mean that we're not living in a time where people don't necessarily have that money to spend. So I'm absolutely not jumping up and down and saying people that £25 isn't a lot of money. But
it's a difficult thing because I think as fans or as we understand with many things like the prices of a show like that takes so many people and the venue and everything. Like, if you think of that price and you think of how much it takes to take yourself to the cinema and, to get your popcorn and a drink, like you're not far off that, or, a couple of coffees and a couple of cakes in Costa and you've bought a ticket. So
that's a good fucking point.
When you put it relatively like that, I don't think anyone personally begrudges what that is, but at the same time you're right, people will think, well, that's an extra this month, do I have it?
The price may have gone up, but it's gone up for quite a cheap price. But obviously you were just starting out and you're a new product and things.
And I've got to take responsibility for that as well. It's not like, this is the first time that I've, I think, made any kind of noise about the fact that it's challenging financially, putting the shows on. So we've presented that it's not a problem. Of course, when your prices go up £25 after some success, people are going to think you're lifting their leg and putting a premium. Oh, they're making their money now. It's just like, no. The thing is, I tell you what, you talk about business decisions. Oh, it's a business decision, right? What I appreciate now is I would always think when that term, it's a business decision, the assumption there is that something is being done to increase profit.
Yeah.
Right. it seems to me that business decisions are made to stay in business.
Yeah.
Not to increase profit. Like you make those decisions when you have no option.
When you start off, you want to get people through the door as well. Like your first time doing this, your biggest worry is, are we going to get people there?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and so you perhaps take those hits to make sure that.
Yeah, and the thing is like we were coming in under other wrestling promotions, right? We were coming in under the market value, right?
Yeah.
The market value is too low anyway. And when we're looking to actually improve upon, just generally improve the product across the board wherever we can, and just generally strive for improvement, like that costs money. So the whole industry is undervalued, and we are inclined to spend more money than other people are inclined to spend money.
I saw the matches you put on in the show. Like the cards are stacked. Like there's a
Rumble,
lot
of talent on that.
Yeah,
Rumble,
well,
wasn't it?
the Rumble itself, like you've got all the talent in the Rumble and then the matches. But most of your shows, there's
multi-man
there's
matches.
There's a lot of matches on that card.
Even just people like Eddie Dennis just popping out just to do a little speech.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've been to I go to a local one in Worthing. Premier Promotions.
I love that one.
And like because it's kids half term stuff. Like they only have like I don't know how many wrestlers, but it might be like
at least
8. Or it's probably not even 8, but because the way they do the show, it's like a tournament sort of thing each time, and actually there's only like 2 matches and then there's a final.
Yeah.
So you don't have that many people. There's only like so many matches, so it doesn't go on that long. I mean, because it's a kids half term thing, they can do it shorter.
Yeah.
And perhaps don't expect as much.
Stone Cold's about to walk in. There's some recycling happening outside. Sorry, Brett. Carry on.
No, I think not. I think I'd got to mine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, it's a really good indicator for me actually who people that do work on those Premier Promotion shows, and talking to people that work those shows, because you talk to a young wrestler and mention Premier Promotions, and they go, oh god, it's it's not quite the style that it's a different style. And I'm like, no, it's a different style.
Yeah.
And I think it's fucking great that you're working.
Oh, totally.
That you're working elsewhere and you're working these different styles.
I think there's even people, and I don't know if they do, and maybe they don't, but there's like people on Riptide that I think perhaps don't do those shows, and I can understand why, but they probably would, because they've got such characters that the kids would just lose their minds over these people.
Yeah. It was great when we talked to Spike on the podcast about the shows that he was doing at Butlins and the camp shows and things like that, and just how he changed his characters so that he wasn't a Tory, because obviously they won't get that, but he was an evil headmaster.
Yeah.
And you can just imagine that working brilliantly.
Yeah, the kids just buy into it. I mean, that's the part that I love about going to the Premier Promotions ones, is the kids there, they just buy into everything.
Yeah.
And they go nuts for the duration.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just going back to the price of the show, I think one of the reasons why you may have had to put your prices up is because you're spending far too much money on whoever does your merch and posters, which might be this guy over here.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolute vampire, man.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking vampire.
Yeah.
I did
forget the money for the talent.
Yeah, I know.
Bring his matches.
A fortune, even to get him to come along today. I thought it was worth touching on that because obviously
absolutely
Brett is here and he's done a fair bit recently, including the Riptide Rumble poster, which I think we're going to give away one of those at the end of the podcast. You seem to work with, or have done so far, a variety of sort of local artists and creatives on various different products, and your merch is pretty damn diverse. Obviously, we just had the CCK dress and shorts.
Yep, absolutely.
Which Brett worked on as well. We've had the Parker jackets. We've had all sorts of stuff. Is that a conscious effort from you to do a variety of stuff? Is it something you're interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want one of the key philosophies about Riptide is like Can we have some nice things? Can everyone have some nice things, please? Can we like? I think that you're not going to grow the audience on just wrestling. Well, you are, but like you're missing a trick, I think. So it's like having stuff that now, you know, because the whole thing is set out towards like, okay, wrestling fans are going to turn up anyway because they love wrestling. So these other like secondary things we don't need to worry about them because the audience is going to, you know, it's going to look after itself because there's wrestling on the show. And it's like, well, what about the people that need convincing? You need to give them some other handles. You know, you need to give them something. It needs to be co-signed by something else. You need to give someone an argument to actually finally bring their mate along. So someone's got an excuse to go because they still think that you have to think it's real to like it. Do you know what I mean? They're still guarded about that. And with the experience of going to a live wrestling show, the expected experience is such a long way away from the actual experience that you kind of can't really argue on that because you're never ever gonna convince someone it's as good as it is on the terms that I mean, maybe you are, but there's such a fucking gap between expectation and reality in that way. You have to fight things on a different plane, on a different battle in some parts anyway, in my opinion. So you've got that. There's actually putting the effort into the presentation and the things around it to lend it some legitimacy and to lend it some credibility and just give it appeal that is like aside from the wrestling. And then there's the other side of things, which is let's give the wrestling fans some nice things. You know, like let's not have a fucking horrible hoodie for 40 quid. You know, like people think that Chris Brooks is fucking rolling in money, right, with all the shirts that he sells. Okay, he's not, because his shirts cost more to make than anyone else's.
I bet they do.
You know, because he's so particular about the designs. Which is something that me and Brett have had experience of, and what we came out with towards the end was way better than what you or I would have settled on. Way better, the final design, because it had been put through that Chris Brooks filter, and that's the time and care and effort that it takes, and it's always got to be printed on good garments, and you know, he's committed for it being good shit. Good shit, special shit. And you're not making 15 quid a t-shirt when it's that quality. You're just not. Just not. You know, you're not all 17 or 18 quid a t-shirt. Like, you know, some people, you know, they will have, you know, 2 quid Gildans and that's fine. And you make 18 quid off in profit in inverted commas off one, but like, you don't sell as many, you know. And you know, he's not. Sorry for, I feel like this is something. I feel like this is good for me to be saying this. I'm sorry, Chris. It's like it's its own. When it's done right, people aren't making a lot of money per unit.
Oh, totally. We understand that.
But that's what I want to be doing. Is I want to be doing stuff that is like a good garment in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, we've got some t-shirts just for a laugh, and Brett did some research into it, and the quality of the t-shirt is better than most of the t-shirts in my wardrobe, but because of that, the price is higher.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we're not selling loads. I mean, we are just a podcast after all. But the people who get them, which should really appreciate the quality, and you can see that with the merch that you guys have been.
And because it's a nice garment, people will wear it.
Yeah,
and that's what you want. You want it on people's backs.
It's not just going to disintegrate, and you know.
I like the variety, or the different aspects of the Riptide merch as well. To the usual, you know, wrestling merch, like, because I'm not a big black t-shirt all the time person,
right? Sure.
Yeah. Or like I do want to buy merch that I will wear, and you know, I don't want certain big graphics all over it all the time either. I like some like, you know, more understated elements
Yeah.
there. So it's nice that there's that option.
Yeah. You could pretty much wear a whole Riptide outfit now, couldn't you?
It's getting there.
You need some shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Or just some socks will do, I suppose.
Oh my gosh.
Some socks.
Some
Brett,
lovely
get working
socks.
with
Some Spike Trevay tartan socks.
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah, I mean, and we're zeroing in on what's actually profitable at this point in terms of like, you know, just with ordering and too much variety and not enough variety and blah 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 blah. But you know, more than anything, you know, for us at the moment, again, it's just about establishing a pattern of acquisition. Or I guess you know, we want people to trust that we're going to serve up some nice clothes, really. Which we're trying to do.
I think the whole, perhaps the merch side and the other things that you do at Riptide with the food, like the vegan hot dogs and the Bison Brewery, it's all like the wrestling, the merch, everything is for all the fans, and especially when you see the wrestling fans in the indie scene, like they want to buy into not just the culture of wrestling, but they want to buy into the things, and the promotions themselves are brands. They have their own little culture. The nice thing over here is actually when you're seeing all the different promotions that have popped up, they're not just doing the same thing as what everyone else is doing. They're trying to
absolutely
get like a character themselves in the shows they put on. So and you definitely see the fans buying into that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the community aspect in the Bright Helm now at this point is an unbridled delight for me. Like everyone knows what they're doing now, you know, and that you know the audience knows what it's doing in that space, and that's so valuable for us. It puts a lot less strain on like our personnel and everything, because people know what they're doing. You know, people are comfortable and they know where the accessible toilets are and they know this and that. And like, oh, please don't think you're bothering us if you need to know where an accessible toilet is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, stop
like,
asking.
I just like, you know, anything you need. But like, people are comfortable. People need less. And you know, talking to people that moved to Brighton 6 months before the first show and didn't have any mates, and like now they have mates, and it's perfectly, it's people that it's not, you wouldn't think it's a stretch that they would have mates. Do you know what I mean? Like these are just like just up and down people that just haven't met anyone in this new town. You know, and that's wonderful to see. And you know, and I've picked up friends, and you know, from it all, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Right. Well, we should start thinking about coming to an end shortly, but we do have some questions from listeners, and also we should talk a little bit about what's ahead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously, we've got International Waters coming up. Week after next, is it?
It's the 6th of July.
6th of July, Friday 6th of July. So tickets still available.
Yep.
So search those out. I definitely encourage you to do that. And then after that, we've got the big one, the Brighton Championship weekend. Over Pride weekend in Brighton. 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. Now, I think there's talk about getting together to discuss that again before that happens, so maybe we won't go too deeply into that. But happy with how things are coming together for that, feeling on track?
I mean, as on track as I can feel until the fucking 2 days before, when all the tickets finally sell.
Get a snowstorm or something.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Another March fucking snowstorm. Jesus H. Samuels. My god. Things are shaping up. I mean, it's again, there's a million things that I want to do that I don't think we've got the time or the budget to do. But we'll just have to see what it is that I can realistically attain, because there's just always a million things I want to be doing. But you know, all the resources are tied up in just doing what we're doing. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to just finally crown that champ.
Crown your champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is exciting.
I can't wait to find out who
I know,
comes out on
amazing.
top.
Yeah, who's going to win it on the day? And then beyond that, are you looking to just keep up monthly shows?
Yeah, I mean, we need
foreseeable?
to look into. We haven't looked at the 2018 calendar yet. Pardon me. We'll probably have a longer break than we did last summer, last year.
Yeah.
So we'll probably look to come back in like mid-March or something like that, instead of February. Just because, like, if you've got the option to not be trading in the winter,
Yeah.
why the fuck are you trading? Like, my brother's worked in, like, you know, because, you know, the snow, I shouldn't really legislate for fucking snow in March, but, like, you know, that really fucked us, that snow. Like, I don't mind saying that nearly put us out of business, that happening, because just expenses skyrocketed because people had to get to you any way possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was tickets that went unsold, that would have been walk-ups, and then then the bar was hit because you had people that had tickets that couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So revenues got hit and expenses went fucking through the roof. So I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, so we're looking to bypass the winter as much as we can because it's just not something. You know, my brother works in the restaurant industry, and was just like, if I could not trade in those at that time of year. I know it's different industries, but if I could be not trading, there's no way. I mean, you're an idiot. You know, so, and I think we're looking at maybe going to, like, we probably still do 10 shows in a year, but without gaps and maybe without weekenders and stuff, and we'll just be running every 6 weeks to a month, something like that. Especially, and if you want us to run more, buy your tickets sooner for the remaining shows in 2018 and make me feel a little bit braver, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
You get as many shows as how brave I feel, dear listener.
Okay. Cool.
Back of the neck of Charlotte into the hardest part of the ring, courtesy of Carmella.
Give it to Carmella, wisely using the ring to her advantage.
Okay, listener questions. We asked on Twitter for people to get in touch if they had any questions for you, Josh. So Craig Goodlad got in touch first. First question was, what does the future hold for Riptide? And then obviously we've touched upon that a little bit, so I don't think we need to go too deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. I'd like to start off with saying, what a stupid question, you fucking Mark. No, I don't mean that, Craig. I don't mean that. Great question.
Yeah, fantastic
Craig.
question, Craig, please.
More than anything, we're looking to consolidate and remain, is what we're looking to do. That's what I would like to think the future holds. You know, that there are not plans for world domination. There are not plans for expansion. We just want to be still doing what we're doing in a year's time.
Yeah, I think that's gonna.
Sounds fair.
That's the way to keep going as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
His next question was, will you be selling replica title belts? I mean, we've seen teasers, haven't we, for the design, and it looks like it's quite an intricate design that, you know, to produce little plastic replicas might be quite expensive.
I mean, this is it. So, in terms of like a full replica belt, like, no, because
It costs a fortune.
Well, I mean, again, like, you know, yes, I'm sure someone could give me a number that would make me commission them a belt, but I think at this point, I don't think that the championship has enough prestige to be able to take there being other clones of it around.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be. I think if you're ever looking at doing that, it has to be so established.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, I guess, is that I imagine most of the replica belts that are sold on WWE.com are going to children. And I mean, there are adults who.
Yeah,
buy them
Craig,
as well.
grow up.
Yeah, sorry, Craig. Oh God, you're getting a bashing today, Craig.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could
Craig
you
might
imagine?
be on about like the 400 quid ones though.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Because they have those, don't they? Like the
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
that cost an absolute fortune. I can't believe anyone stumps up the money.
Craig's got them all.
There will, I think, don't take me with my promise on this one, but there should be something along those lines.
Oh, cool.
But a wearable belt.
No. And is the belt finished?
Yeah, it's finished. It's totally finished. I've got it right here. There's no stress about getting it ready for August at all. Here it is. Look. Ding, 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 ding.
Wow, what a belt.
That is a finished belt that exists.
I can't believe how finished it is. Next question from Craig. 3 questions from Craig.
Wow, great.
Enthusiastic. Would you ever consider the possibility of a cage or ladder match or street brawl or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in so many ways we sort of constantly are considering it in terms of when it's right. It was one of the first things that, lots of people ask, like, oh, are you going to do this, are you going to do that, like when we first started, and I was just like, well, not with no reason I'm not.
Yeah.
Not for the fuck of it, I'm not. I mean, you can kind of go to the table match for that and say, well, you absolutely did a table match for the fuck of it. No, WWE were in town the day after, and I wanted to sell some fucking tickets. That's the reason why we did that. Okay, it's maybe not like a storyline reason, but yes, absolutely. Yeah. But there's logistics on this shit.
Of course, imagine.
There's some serious logistics with this stuff.
Everyone trying to get out the Brighthelm for a street brawl in the little courtyard outside could be interesting. So maybe a merch village brawl of some sort. As long as it's nowhere near David Styles.
I was going to say, just don't touch David Styles.
Yeah, don't touch his merch. Next question from Riptide Wrestling fans on Twitter. If you could change one thing about the venue, what would it be? Is there anything about the Brighthelm you're not too happy with? Or it's a pretty special place, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a new set of electrics and fire alarms in there. But then, other than that, it's it would be great if we had more capacity. It would be great if we could have more raked seating, and railings and stuff. But all of this stuff is like, that's technically production that I can bring in. Do you know what I mean? I think, it would be nice to have another 100 people. Space for another 100 people, but we don't, and everything else is just about production elements and lighting and maybe a bit more oomph in the PA and other stuff. But that's all within our power to do. We just don't have the money.
Is there potential to have any seating on the stage, like Progress have done in the past? Or?
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, how many seats could you get up
It
there?
looks quite narrow.
Not many.
Unbelievable.
And also, you guys are based up there for the Rumble. I don't know. You seem to have moved spots a lot. Something you're finding out where it's best to be based. Or...
Yeah, I mean, the Rumble thing. It was about having a direct line of sight to the curtain and the stage manager Nikki, because it was such an unknown quantity. I was like, I need to take out I need to be able to just go over and talk to them. And they need to be able to look at me and tell me there's a problem.
Something's going wrong.
As it happens, the Rumble was very smooth in that regard. But with that unknown quantity, I had to go there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And the next question from Riptide Rest fans was, with Jimmy saying that the Riptide tag team division should watch out, might we be looking at tag titles sooner rather than later? So this is, of course, referring to Jimmy. Oh, should I even spoil it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Jimmy and Ginny, obviously, after their match at the Rumble, looks like they're going to be teaming up. So, yeah, tag titles. Is that something to think about? Now that the main championship belt is finished and looking so amazing on my lap.
Jimmy Havoc is a law unto himself, Rich, I guess.
I bet he is. Well, you've got to do it now.
The things that I would say of that is that no, you shouldn't be expecting a belt, but yes, they should be watching out.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I mean, if I was a tag team in Riptide, I'd be worried about Jimmy and Ginny.
Yeah.
Are there plans from the Riptide office to have belts? No. Is there an aspiration to have belts? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Let's get the main belt out there first. Get that dealt with. Yeah. Okay. Cool. A quick one from Carl Luckhurst. How could people train to be a referee? Are there any seminars due? Do you know?
I know that RevPro have done at the Portsmouth School of Wrestling. I know that they've done ref seminars. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, Tom from Riptide did one a little while ago. I don't know if there's any more on the horizon. I know that London School of Lucha Libre seem to be producing refs. Lauren Carnell, who has done refs and pre-shows for us and officiated the Rumble as well, and is now now ringing the bell. Actually, have a look around. Have a Google for some wrestling schools and see what's going on. I can't shed any more light on it other than that, I'm afraid.
No.
Carl.
Well, yeah. Have a look, Carl. I know Carl's a regular at all the shows, so maybe, who knows, maybe in a year's time we'll see him in the ring. Reffing. Wow.
Getting ref bumped.
Yeah. And final question from Will Superkick. He says, what's been your proudest / favourite? But we talked about some favourites, but what's been your proudest moment from any Riptide so far?
Yeah, and I think the Rumble match in general. I think especially going back and looking at the reactions and everything like that. That's got to be the proudest moment. It's just that sort of just coming off and to have done the business we wanted to do in that match. And yeah, for the I think the investment of the audience to kind of ratcheted up a notch then, because we haven't really paid much off until that show, to be honest with you.
No.
A lot of heel main event wins.
That's true.
Lot of setup, a lot of squeeze, not a lot of juice, and had to be that way by I believe.
Yeah.
You know, if we could have done it another way, we probably would have looked to have done it a slightly kinder way.
Well,
but it's not my job to make people happy. It's my job to make them. My job to make them fucking unhappy. And from that point, it's very easy to make them happy.
Yeah. Knock them down and then bring them back up.
So it's tough without them being too pissed off with me.
Yeah. Oh no, it definitely worked. You know, and they say you're only as good as your last show, so I think you're in a pretty good place.
Oh, for another 2 weeks, I am.
For another 2 weeks before international waters. Brilliant. Okay, well that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for for having us, but we're not even in your place this time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolute piss taker.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, listeners should go out and buy tickets for international waters and the Brighton Championship tournament. Riptide Res. WRES on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Right? Obviously riptidewrestling.com for on-demand stuff, so definitely go and check them out. We're going to do, as I said, a little giveaway for a Rumble poster, and I will give details about that after this. And then, keep an eye out, because there will be some sort of Brighton Championship preview going on over the next few weeks at some point, so something to look forward to. Thank you, Josh.
Pleasure.
I'll see you soon. See you at International Waters.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hardest part of the ring, and Sami Zayn able to dodge that catastrophe.
Boom, there we go. Thank you very much to Josh once again for coming on the podcast. I hope everybody agrees. It was really cool to just sit down and talk about everything that's been going on at Riptide, all the highlights of the shows, and obviously plans for the future. And hopefully we'll get Josh back on again soon. Obviously we did reasonably cryptically mention that there might be some sort of preview show for the Brighton Championship tournament. I can't give you any more info on that at the moment, but we are currently sort of talking to Josh about what could be quite a cool idea. Anyway, there will be more information on that when we have it. And sorry for being annoying and not really telling you much there. So yeah, nice one, Adam. Good work. So yeah, I mean, now, you know, a lot of you will know more about Riptide. Obviously, a lot of you already know and are regulars, and we'll see you down there at International Waters on Friday the 6th of July. But if you haven't been, I definitely recommend trying to get down to Brighton if you can. If not, then go to riptidewrestling.com and sign up for their on-demand service. Because one of the biggest things they get recognised for is the style. You know, the camera work, the lighting, the cinematography, everything like that. So it's definitely worth having a look. And also, yeah, we mentioned the fact that there are a load of free matches on their YouTube as well. So there's no excuses, really. Giveaway, yes. So Josh, when we arrived to do the interview, was very kind to us, and he gave us one of their poster packs, which they were selling at the last show. So it basically involves large posters for Riptide Returns, the Brighton Spirit Weekender, and the Riptide Rumble. Obviously, as you know, Brett from the podcast has done a lot of work for them, and he worked on the Riptide Rumble poster. And I know we're biased, but it is a seriously fucking cool poster. So what we're going to do is give that away to a random person, a random listener, who retweets the tweet about this podcast. So go on our Twitter, there'll be a pinned tweet giving the info about this podcast. Retweet it, and then we'll pick a winner at some point, and we'll post you out these posters. That is it, I think, for now. What can I let you know? We've got another podcast coming up later in the week. Obviously, it's been the UK Championship tournament thing, was ages ago now, but it's only just come out on the network. So we're going to be watching that. Might not be all of us, just as many of us can fit in watching it and then be able to sit down and have a chat about it. So look out for that. Episode 33 will be the UK tournament review. And then I think we're going to have a week off. And yeah, who knows? But we'll keep you updated on our Twitter. If you want to keep in touch, it is at Hardest Part Pod on Twitter and on Instagram, and I think on Facebook as well. You can email us, hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. And if you go to hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com, you can get a Hardest Part of the Ring t-shirt. Talked about it on this podcast and the interview. It is the softest t-shirt I own. Okay? And I don't go cheap on my t-shirts. It's just really soft. So yeah, buy one and experience the softness. And that is not quite how I expected to sign off, but that is what I'm going to do. So thanks for listening. Thanks again to Josh. Thanks for Brett for coming along. And that's it. That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.